Hello crafty friends, today I'm going to be creating a Just a Note card, and this is the sketch that is based on this card. Feel free to pause the video and take a screenshot now if you'd like to keep a copy for yourself. This card is one of those crafting by the seat of your pants cards where I sat down and didn't really have much idea of where I was going, just pulled out a few bits to play with. Speaking of bits to play with, I thought I would start with some fairly large alpha dies and die cut the word note out of a panel of smooth white card. And then I grabbed my box of backgrounds and bits and pulled out a greeny blue inked panel and ran it through my die cutting machine with a swirly whirly embossing folder. And I thought I would use this to back the apertures that I just cut in my card panel. But I wanted to give it a little bit more variation across the surface. So I brayered on some sticky embossing ink and then shook on some white embossing powder. I like to use a brayer when adding embossing powder to the raised portions of an embossed piece of card because it rolls it on very neatly. You don't tend to get much ink sticking in the valleys of the embossed card. Once that was heated, set and cooled, I stuck it on the back of my card panel. And I used high-tack glue. I ran the glue all the way around the nitty-gritty little edges of the apertures of the letters so that they wouldn't pull up or flap around, and then I stuck it down onto the piece of green card. I wanted to give my O its centre back, so I put some glue on the centre of the O and then put the whole O back in its aperture and lifted out the letter which left the middle behind in exactly the right place. I mean, you probably could get away with just putting it in and making it look right, but I thought I'd do it that way. Next, I used scissors to trim off the overhanging bit of green panel, and I ran an embossing tool, my edge beveling tool, around the outside to make it look less trimmer cut and more die cut. After that, I took another piece of scrap out of my box of backgrounds and bits and die cut out the words Juster using a small alphabet font. This one I think is Crafter's Companion, part of their Gemini Mini die cutting range. And I chose orange because I thought it would go quite nicely. It will contrast well with the green. And I stuck it on in a bouncy way, just as I'd cut the note out in a bouncy way. So this is quite a fun card, with lots of energy from bouncing letters and bright colours. I had a bit of a rummage through my dies and pulled out some film strip frames. I die cut these from some quite bright pink paper from my box of backgrounds and bits. I thought they might be a little bit too bright, so I spritzed them with some white shimmer spray, which didn't have much effect in terms of muting it down, but it did give them a nice shimmer. To stick these onto my card, I used my glue dotter to add some little dots of glue to the back, and then I put 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom to create a sense of flow, giving the card a nice diagonal design. And again, it's quite bouncy, just like the sentiment. I did make a bit of a boo-boo in that I stuck my card panel to my card blank a bit early. I had intended to stick the frames on, snip off the overhang and then stick it onto my card blank. But what I actually did was stick the frames to the panel and the card blank. So I had to get my detail scissors and carefully snip off the overhang in line with the card panel, and I think I managed that fairly successfully. It looks fairly neat. To finish off the card, I pulled out my little box of die cut circles and I added some gold glitter circles in a cascade following that diagonal down the card to add some shimmer, some shine, some extra energy and vibrancy. I did put some crystal glaze on top of them to give them a bit of dimension and gloss, and that was this card done. I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's given you some ideas of things you can do with the supplies and tools that you already have in your stash. If it has, let me know in the comments, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and I'll see you back here very soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.